I feel like you almost have to go by era. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
rap has evolved so much from, hip hop, hibbity hop, and it's become more like the greats of this generation, like, and the greats of the last generation, like, um, yeah, I don't know. I think that you have to take it by. I think you have to take it by generation, just to give a fair assessment. Like Biggie and Tupac were the best from their generation. You know what I'm saying? Like just because the top tier lyricists right now are doing it to a level that is so different from the 90s.
This was actually really cool to watch and cool to hear. Eminem obviously has been considered a rap superstar for well over a decades plus now, and clearly he's earned it, you know. But there is something to be said about a rapper that reaches his stature in hip hop and can come into the conversation, and when talking about his opinion about the greatest of all time in regards to hip hop and rap, can articulate it in a way where we can think about the conversation and how to update the conversation of who is the greatest of all time. And to be honest with you, in the manner that Eminem introduced this concept of, updating the conversation and how we should view the conversation of the greatest of all time, this was definitely a cool update that I think he added to the conversation. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Still Slaps Music Commentary, Music Reviews. Today we're talking about the snippet here of Eminem talking about the greatest of all time conversation in the realm of hip hop, and really giving his take of how this should be updated, the criteria. And I really thought that this was cool because, first off, M obviously always being humble and alluding to other acts who've been around longer than him, who he's looked up to and who he's learned to in the skill of emceeing and being one of the greatest rappers that he is. He always finds a way to pass the buck, and that's never talked about enough. So it's definitely really refreshing for him to give his opinion and give his take, and always kind of be humble with it. And I think that this is in the realm of the conversation of talking about the greatest of all time. Hip hop, we tend to blend a lot of the biggest acts who've been on the scene on hip hop a lot and put them together all in a pot. But I really thought that it was dope that M really alluded to updating the conversation with the updating the criteria when it comes down to talking about the greatest of all time in the realm of hip hop. I love how he mentioned that we should really look at the different eras if we're going to keep having this conversation of the greatest of all time, and kind of split them up. Because if you think about it, it is a little unfair for a Kendrick Lamar or a let's say J. Cole or Drake to be placed in the same conversation as a let's say 80s Rakim, or a Big Daddy Kane. It's a little unbalanced. And because of the simple fact, like M said, hip hop has evolved. Hip hop has been through the ringer, and hip hop has just been updating over time, different skill sets, different skill levels. You heard what M alluded to in regards to the Sugar Hill gang, hip hop rappers delight, classic banger that really set off hip hop in general. And I love how you really do have to think about the change in the endurance that the genre of hip hop has had. It's really a privilege to be able to say that you can go through the different time stamps of hip hop as altogether the culture, and see the different dynamics and changes and shifts and wavelengths and different vibrations that the hip hop realm has really endured and shape shifted through. It's all the way down to 2022. If you're still around and you have the ability to have seen obviously what M alluded to in this clip, you definitely need to pat yourself on the back and really look at this conversation and in a new light, because we can definitely get hyped up on who our favorites are. We could definitely stand for a lot of our preferred hip hop artists, but the truth is that the fact that we're still in 2022 and we're able to look back on the long strain of history, like M mentioned in his interview here with Shay, and it's just such an awesome thing to really think about. Drop in the comments below who your favorite MC is, who your favorite hip hop artist is, and what they've contributed to the game thus far in 2022. And where are they in the conversation, do you think, in the realm of era? Obviously, we are in the J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake era of things. And actually, you can argue that the conversation is shifting a little bit from them in the sense of, you know, mainstream hip hop. Obviously, in recent times, Lil Nas X has been a conversation starter, and he's definitely been contributing to the more poppier side of the mainstream when it comes down to hip hop. Whether people like it or not, you can talk about also the Doja Cats, you could talk about the Nicki Minaj's, you could talk about the Cardi B's. So it's just really, it's something to really look at when you're talking about the shift. And M really did nail it on the head. Let's split it up into eras and think about how this conversation could really be narrowed down when you're talking about the greatest of all time. Because honestly, I think you're gonna have much more of fun doing that, in the sense of talking about the greatest of all time when it comes down to doing what M said and splitting it up, the criteria in that sense of eras.
That slaps.